Hey there, and welcome back to Happily Ever Anxious, where we talk about managing social anxiety at the Walt Disney World theme parks. We are in the midst of a series about my top 10 tips for managing social anxiety, whether you are at Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Epcot, or Disney Springs. The last video was covering tips 1 and 2, and in today's video, we are going to cover tips number 3 and 4, which are all about food or dining in the Walt Disney World theme parks. So let's get right into it. Tip number 3 is going to be all about mobile ordering. And my tip is to take advantage of mobile ordering when you are in the parks, or even if you are at one of the resort hotels that does offer mobile ordering, and they also offer mobile ordering at some of the dining locations over in Disney Springs. So if you don't know what mobile ordering is, basically it is ordering your food in advance on the Disney Parks app. You would just download the app and create an account if you don't already have one, and that is going to allow you to choose a dining location that does offer mobile ordering and will allow you to choose the time that you want to dine, as well as whatever it is that you want to eat in advance. And you can choose mobile ordering or order off of the app basically at any time during the day on the day of your dining needs. So mobile ordering is offered at most of the quick service restaurants around the parks, and it is offered at some quick service and table service locations at the resorts. So it's definitely something that, as someone who struggles with social anxiety, I take advantage of pretty much every time that I am at the parks. I'm going to create an entire video that's just about mobile ordering, how to do it, and walking you through the process step by step if it's something that you have not done before. But I did want to talk a little bit more about why mobile ordering is such a useful tool for those of us who have social anxiety. And for me, one of the things that I love about mobile ordering is I get to order my food without having to stand in line, and not standing in line means less interactions that I have to have with cast members. Now, cast members are great. Cast members are Disney employees who are working in the parks and in the resorts. And yes, they are great. However, sometimes, and this just depends on my mood, but sometimes it's difficult for me to have to stand in a line, particularly at a quick service location that I have never been to before, look at the menu, decide right away what it is that I want to order, and then have to have that interaction with the cast member while ordering and paying for my food. If I order in advance through the Disney Parks app, I don't have to deal with that. So that is less stress, that is less potential awkwardness that I have to endure when I am at the parks. Another thing that I love about mobile ordering is, and this kind of piggybacks off of what I just said, but I can take a look at the menu and really digest it, think about what I want to eat, look at pictures of the items without doing that in line. Like, I don't have to wait in line to see the menu, to see the food that other people order, to see if that's something that I want to eat. And yes, for people who, don't struggle with social anxiety, they may look at that or hear that and think, well, what's the big deal? But again, those of us who deal with social anxiety know how awkward it can be for us to have to make a decision about something just as simple as food, what we're going to eat, and to do that in such a small period of time. So I can take my time in the app, like I said, looking at the menus at each of the different restaurants that offer mobile ordering. I can look at the prices, I can look at the ingredients, I can look at the pictures, and really decide what I want without having to make a decision on the spot. So for me, that is priceless. Luckily, speaking of price, the prices of mobile ordering are the same as if you were to order in the restaurant and go up to a cashier and order your food. So that is great. I know sometimes when you order food through an app, there tends to be an increased cost to be able to have that convenience, but that is not the case with mobile ordering. So again, I just enjoy not only the convenience of ordering my food in advance, but also not having to have that awkward conversation with the cast members and make those decisions on the spot, which can induce some anxiety for me personally. I don't know about you, but definitely that does it for me. And the other thing about mobile ordering that for me is, it makes it worthwhile is not only can you choose what you want to eat, but you can choose when you want to eat as well. So like I said, mobile ordering typically tends to open up on the day of your visit, basically early in the morning. So even if a dining location that offers mobile ordering is not yet open, you can still order that food in advance and you can choose the time that you are going to pick up your food. So this is going to go into tip number 4, but again, this is invaluable for me because I get to choose the time that I want to eat and try to eat at times that are not going to be as crowded or have as many diners as some of the more popular dining times. And really that is tip number 4, which is to eat at off-peak times. So one of the things that those of us struggle with if we have social anxiety, or maybe this is just me, but particularly if you are ordering from a quick service restaurant or a cafeteria style restaurant where you order your food first or you pick up your food and then you take your food, you have your tray and you're walking around the restaurant looking for a place to sit, that can raise my body temperature very quickly. And it can, it just is another one of those moments where I can feel very awkward. I can feel very self-conscious because you're if it's a peak dining time, so 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, when everyone is going to eat lunch and flooding those restaurants, walking around with your tray looking for a place to sit can be a problem for those of us with social anxiety, particularly when you're starting to make eye contact with people who are already sitting and they're, that self-consciousness starts to kick in and it can go pretty downhill pretty quickly depending on your level of social anxiety, particularly if you cannot find a place to sit and your worst nightmare is kind of realized. So one of the things that I love about mobile ordering and one of the reasons why I recommend dining at an off-peak dining time is because you get to avoid all of that. One of the things that I like to do is when I know that I'm going to be dining in a quick service restaurant, I will actually order my food ahead of time for the earliest available spot. And luckily for me, I like to eat pretty early. I don't eat breakfast. I'm not a breakfast eater. So when it comes to lunch, by about 11 o'clock in the morning, I'm ready to eat. And that just so happens to be when many of the quick service locations open up in the parks. Same thing with me for dinner, 5 o'clock is my dinner time for the most part. I like to eat pretty early. So that's great for me because when most people are still enjoying the parks, either waiting for that 12 noon or 1 p.m. lunchtime or later on in the day for dinner, that 6 or 7 o'clock dining time, I've already eaten. And not only have I already eaten, but I did not have a problem finding a place to sit and getting comfortable and did not have to walk around with that tray in my hand. So that is what I would recommend for you as well, is to try to dine at some off-peak times. When it comes to lunch, again, this is going to be either before about 12 noon or after about 2 o'clock in that lunch slot. And also for dinner, dinner at Disney typically starts, if you're talking table service restaurants, at about 4 o'clock. So if you have a reservation for 4, then you are pretty much going to be served or ordering off of the dinner menu. So if you are like me and you love eating dinner early, I would definitely recommend anything from about 4 to 6 for dinner before things get too crowded and while the restaurant is still pretty empty and you have your servers undivided attention. Or if you don't like to eat an early dinner, I would say try to wait until about after 7 if you're doing a quick service, because the closer that you get, if you're in the parks, to that 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock time, people are going to either be leaving the parks, which is great because that's less people to contend with when trying to order your food and find a place to sit, or people are going to be starting to find their spots for the fireworks or for the nighttime show. So the restaurants, particularly again, quick service restaurants, are going to start to empty out at about 7 o'clock, and you typically have until park close to order from the restaurant. Now there are going to be some locations that close earlier than park close, and so just be aware of that. If you have the My Disney Experience app, I think that's what it's called, then you can go ahead and check dining times and just see when your restaurants, your preferred restaurants, are going to be closing. And like I said, maybe try to get a reservation for later on in the evening or before that huge rush for either lunch or dinner. So just to recap, my tip number 3 for managing your social anxiety in the parks would be to utilize mobile order, and you can do that in the it's not the My Disney Experience app, it's the Disney Parks app, but it's like My Disney Experience is what they call all of the things you can do in the app, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But mobile order through the app, which allows you to choose your preferred eating time, your restaurant of choice, and you get to look at the menus and the pictures before you order. You can also pay through the app as well. So what you'll do is once you order, you can press a button that says that you're ready to eat, you're at the dining location, and then you'll just pick up your food from a specified counter. Again, I'm going to create a video all about mobile ordering in the parks because it is something that I use all the time, pretty much every time that I visit. And then tip number 4 is going to be to try to eat your meals, whether it be breakfast, lunch, or dinner, during those off-peak times to avoid that awkwardness of carrying your tray, looking for a place to sit, and not finding any, but feeling self-conscious and that all eyes are on you. All right, so that is it for this video. The next video is going to cover at least tip number 5. Hopefully, I will see you there in a few seconds. Bye.